Welcome to Let's Listen, a video podcast in which we have conversations with IBMers about their own neurodiversity and their careers within IBM. I'm Andrew Williams, your IBM host, and today we'll be listening to Dallas Brognan in Raleigh, North Carolina, who joined IBM only just last year. Welcome, Dallas. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about you as a person and as an IBMer.
I am 48. I am a Georgia native. I'm originally from Georgia. I moved with my family to North Carolina in 2007. Uh, I have a 15-year-old teenager. We are both diagnosed autistic and ADHD. So it's been very interesting. I homeschool him. I am a self-taught web developer. I have been a writer since my childhood. I, was late diagnosed about 11 years ago. And over those years, as I've learned more about what it really means to be me as an autistic person and to be the parent of an autistic person, um, I learned a lot and began to develop a voice for the public education system and how things like the IEP, which is the Individualized Education Plan, or the 504 plan, which is for students with ADHD, how their accommodations are designed, developed, strategized, planned, and implemented within the public education system. Because there's a lot of miscommunication, there's a lot of misperception about what it means to be either someone with ADHD or an autistic person. And schools are not equipped at this point to communicate or strategize with parents who are also neurodivergent. They're so used to it only being the students that when a parent comes up with a neurodivergence and says, this is, I need these accommodations so that I can work as an effective member of this team for my student, they falter. So that's
Mm.
where I had been focusing my voice. I've addressed the North Carolina State Board of Education before regarding exactly that. I had gotten some very good feedback from some of the heads over there, and they actually have implemented a couple of strategies that I let them know about. It's not that I came up with it, it's just that these are things that other autistic parents have been talking about for years. They just hadn't heard it yet because they're not listening to the autistic adults.
hmm And tell us about your position within IBM and how you joined.
I I'm in the new collar apprenticeship program, and I joined through neurodiversity at IBM. When I started as a contractor, I was introduced to Nat Lakowski, Diane Delaney, and so many other people, Lindsay Evans, and they all of them just kind of came together. I had no clue that a company could have a dedicated neurodiversity program until I came to IBM. And the minute I found out about it, I just went down the rabbit hole. I did the deep dive into, what is out there at IBM for neurodivergent employees. And,
Mhm.
you know, through them, I was introduced to my manager, Mike Abbott. He is the delivery manager for the remote code load team under systems data storage, system
Mhm.
support.
Mhm.
And he is part of the apprenticeship program. He brings people on, and that's what I'm currently doing. I'm training to be one of the engineers that implements upgrades to all of IBM's client data storage.
Mm. Sounds like a very exciting job that you've got there. But maybe you could tell us what's exciting to you about an average day for you at IBM. What really gets you excited?
I honestly, I've never worked at a company at a job where I've always been excited to come into work. There's never been a moment of dread, not since I started at all. Excuse me. Um, there's a bit of an unpredictability because, and I remember speaking about this, before with someone else. There are two sides of me. There's
Mm.
autistic me, there's ADHD me. And there the twain shall meet usually. But here they blend because the process of remote code load is it's routine enough that I'm very comfortable. Once I learn the routine and I have the foundation for it,
Mhm.
I'm good, I'm solid. But there's always an unpredictable element to it when I come in because I don't know how many bookings I'm going to have. There are always last minute requests from clients that come up saying, we need to reschedule, or this has been rescheduled. We had to send someone on site to replace a part. Now that's done. So we need to finish our end of things. Excuse me. And so that's exciting. It's a safe bit of routine, but
Mm.
there's also the element of just that little bit of chaotic dopamine boosting, you know. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been in IBM for about 37 years now, and every day is exciting for me,
Hmm.
mainly because of the people I meet. It's all
Yes.
about the people. That's what gets me excited,
Mhm.
especially when I'm talking to different countries into Korea
Mhm.
or other countries. It's just very exciting. So maybe you could talk about a day-to-day challenge that you experience as a neurodivergent and what that means within your day.
Mhm. So there are some challenges, especially when I first started. The first thing that Mike did when he realized that I am neurodivergent was request the link to the neurodiversity one-on-one
Mhm.
learning module that we have. And
Mm.
now I think they have a new one for managers as well, right? In
Yeah,
talent
yeah,
acquisition, which I think every person, not just talent acquisition and managers, but I think it would benefit everybody to take it. Um,
yeah.
because you just learn a lot more than you ever expected. But that was the first time that somebody had been that proactive about learning what accommodations I might need. And he came right out and asked, "What do you need?" You have
Mm.
no idea how humbling and rare that was for me to experience. I was like, did I just stumble into the mother lode of, but there were some challenges because as enthusiastic as someone can be, if they don't have the experience of either managing a neurodivergent employee or knowing other people who are neurodivergent, having somebody they can go to as a sounding board or ask questions, it's difficult, you know. And we're very blunt. I need very detailed, direct,
Mm.
clear, concise communication in writing. If you
Mm.
and I, as you experienced by we were talking about the questions. I said I've already forgotten the second one
Mm.
that you were going to ask. I need to have something in front of me that I can refer back to. I mean, I'll ask questions all day long, but I feel like, that gets old after a while. I don't want to have to continually ask for reminders. I want to be able to do it myself.
Mm.
That's part of my independence. So there was a little bit of a learning curve on both sides for communication. Um, I think I have, again, mentioned this elsewhere, but I was fortunate enough to engage a Blue Course certified coach and Nat Lakowski. She
Mhm.
facilitated some of those conversations. She really spearheaded, and she arranged, she got Mike to agree to let her hold a lunch and learn, which benefited the whole team because our team is split. We're a global team. We have people in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. We have people in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we also have a team in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Mm.
So we're all, we also have new team members in Shanghai, China. So we really cross all the time zones.
Mm.
And it benefited everybody on that team.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
matter what country they lived in, they learned something not only about me, but some of them learned something about themselves too.
yeah,
I've had more than one person come up to me and let me know that, what, I am so glad that y'all had this
yeah.
because, I have ADHD, or I might be. I realize that I have the same struggles. And they never knew that there were avenues that they could take to get accommodations. They didn't know that.
Mm.
So, you talk about being a catalyst, it just takes one person.
Yeah. And that's something that I've realized over time, and I've watched IBM become more neurodivergent
Hmm.
as time passes. As I meet individuals like yourself or Ingrid or others, I've just seen IBM and the broader set of employees and management being impacted in a very positive way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes people, you know what? And I told Mike, you know, I don't, I don't know how to say this without sounding condescending, but
Hmm.
learning to be my manager will help you be a better people manager for everyone,
Yeah.
because some
Yeah.
people aren't comfortable disclosing that, but they still have the same struggles. And over time, you can learn those cues to when those struggles are, and that way you can facilitate a conversation with that employee, and you'll be more empathetic because you have experience with it already.
Yeah. So, look, unfortunately, that brings us to the end of this Let's Listen podcast. I'd really like to thank Dallas for their time today. I think it's been a great discussion. If anyone has any questions, feel free to post the question below, or otherwise, you can find more information about neurodiversity at IBM at ibm.biz/let's listen. And always, thanks for listening to us today at IBM.
Thank you.
That's it. Thanks. Thanks so much.